Welcome, Warrior Nation.
Welcome, welcome.
Under the Armor. Isaac,
Yeah?
co-host Under the Armor. Did you ever think that would happen?
Nope. Honestly, no. Never saw myself on a podcast or anything like that.
I didn't either. So here's what we're doing, folks. I'm sitting here, as I mentioned, Isaac Tassie, born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How could I ever mess that up?
Oh, my gosh.
Now lives in Greenville, South Carolina. I'll talk a little bit more about Isaac here in just a minute. But, Isaac, what we're trying to do is start a podcast and kicking it off here in 2023. Wow,
Yeah.
that in itself is amazing.
I know. Have you had to write the date yet?
I have.
I don't think I have. Maybe once, but I'm not used to it yet.
I've had to do it. I haven't messed up yet. In fact,
Okay.
I made it, was very intentional in making sure that I did 23.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit easier for me to write 2023. I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But, I'm excited to be here. I know you're excited to be here.
Oh, very, very, very.
This is something that Isaac and I, honestly, we didn't talk about it together. I was thinking about it summer, early fall of last year. He was kind of thinking about it, same time frame, I guess?
Early fall, mid-fall kind of thing.
You went to Julia Reiniger, our director of athletics, and oddly enough, I think Julia is actually going to be our first interview that we'll have on Under the Armor. You just went to her. She said, I've been thinking about it. You stepped across the hall, and I guess a couple months of planning later, here we are.
Yeah, history's history, right?
So excited. You're
Very.
probably asking, what is Under the Armor? Well, Under the Armor is where we try to get to the heart of Warrior Athletics.
Yep. Try and get the way I've been describing it to people who, as I've been telling them, there's this amazing new podcast that I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to get to know the person of student athletes and coaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our goal is to talk 40% athletics, 60%, as you just said, about the person, about who they are, what they're doing. Of course, involved with athletics, but we're also going to have some students. We're going to have faculty that are not directly involved with athletics, but have a connection in some way or fashion, whether it be with a team or just developing lifelong relationships with student athletes or coaches.
Maybe, just maybe, we might have President Barker on.
That would be huge.
Who knows? It'd be a step forward.
For those of you that are listening off campus, maybe you're an alum of Southern Wesleyan, Dr. Barker has just finished his first semester. He actually was at the winter December graduation. And so starting now spring semester. So that's our goal. We're going to try to get him on here maybe later on in the semester, which will encapsulate, I guess, his first academic year here at Southern Western University. So that is exciting.
Very
No doubt. Well, as I mentioned, it's Isaac. He's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, much to my dismay. I'm a Dallas Cowboy guy.
I'm sorry. Being born there, you can't, you're being bred into the Pittsburgh family.
I fully understand. The Cowboys and Steelers, honestly, let's be honest, they're no longer a rivalry.
No.
I mean, they hardly play each other. Back in the 70s is when, I don't even know if you were born then, probably not.
I was born in 01.
Great.
How old do you think I am?
I have no idea. You're graduating when?
Next May.
Next May. So you have a year and a half.
Spring 2024.
Yeah, 3 more semesters.
Scary.
Talk about flying by.
I know.
If you don't know Isaac, if you're on campus, you have to know Isaac. Jeez. If you're off campus, you may not know Isaac, but he is actually majoring in sport management with a Christian studies minor, does not participate on any athletic team, but attends all kinds of athletic events. And my first encounter with Isaac was at a basketball game, not this current basketball season, but last year. And I believe I was sitting with some other coaches and administration in athletics, and we see this guy across the court cheering feverishly, just a towel going in a circular motion, almost as if you were trained by the terrible towel people.
Exactly.
Hence the Steeler reference.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, who is this guy? I got to see this guy. He had this blue, I think it was a blue SWU hoodie. And again, as we said already, the rest is history.
Yeah.
He's not only attends the athletic events, he's what's called a lifeguard. Now, if you're an alum, we don't have a pool on campus. So I'm going to let him explain in just a minute what a lifeguard is. But he attends all the athletic events. He, being a sport management major, obviously loves sports, football. It's interesting, his career path or what he wants to do, and I'll let him talk a little bit more about that. But first, tell us, for those that don't know, what a lifeguard is here on the campus of Southern Wesleyan.
Yes, so the lifeguard, otherwise known as a hall chaplain, that's the easier way of putting it. It's funny, like when new students are coming in the fall and the spring, like I have to introduce myself as a hall chaplain, because then they're like, oh, there's a pool? What's a lifeguard then if there's not a pool? And so it's a hall chaplain. We have a similar job to RAs, resident assistants, except we are part of spiritual life, not residence life. So our focus is more of the spiritual and emotional health of campus, and trying to reach the people that are that might not like know Christ and might not be as connected to the campus as others. And it's a really truly like cool opportunity just to be part of a even I mean we're talking in the sports world here on this podcast, but like I'm on a team of my own where we care for each other just as much as sport teams like how they interact with their teammates. Like we meet bi-monthly, meaning twice a month, not once every 2 months. That's crazy. But yeah, so it's just a great opportunity. It's a small team, but it just makes it more intimate.
Right.
Which is
awesome.
Really good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you expressed a little bit what a lifeguard, what your responsibility is as a lifeguard. Now, you told me this when I first met you, what you want to do as far as your career path or your career goal. I thought that was pretty cool. Being a former baseball coach, statistics drive baseball.
Yeah.
Share a little bit with the with Warrior Nation and those listening, what you'd like to do.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to go into sports statistics. My brain works in math in a lot of ways, making math one of the easier subjects in school, but like it just because it clicks. And my senior year of high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life at all, and I found myself, being a Steelers fan, following Next Gen Stats, the ESPN organization, and just like pouring over all of that and like doing it for fun. And the thought just popped into my head, like, hey, what if this is a career path for you? And so I came here to SWU, and again, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
We're back to that. I'm loving the sports management industry here, and just trying to go deeper and deeper every day.
Well, you're not only a sports enthusiast, and as we mentioned already, you attend a lot of the sporting events, the athletic events here on campus, but you actually work with the athletic department. I know last spring, you were in the press box at softball and baseball.
Yeah.
Statistics. There we go.
It's a hard word to say.
It is. You dabbled in soccer. Actually, you did soccer matches.
I did soccer. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was scary. I'll admit, those were scary because it's like you don't get a break ever.
Right.
At least in baseball, softball, you get to like kind of mentally check out in between pitches. As long as you have the ability to zone in.
Each half inning, you get a little break. And
Yeah.
Haven't tackled volleyball.
No.
Or basketball.
Mm-mm.
And
those are too fast paced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to stick with the fall sports and soccer, and then the spring baseball, softball.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I love football, but also, okay, I have to admit, and I know I'm talking to a SWU coach, but former, but still someone who's been with Southern Wesleyan for
a few years,
just 30 or something. But I was watching North Greenville go through the national champion, like the national tournament,
right,
for Division II, and that's what got me to fall in love with baseball. So, and I was cheering for them. G's giving me a look right now.
We'll move on. Under the Armour. We're going to bring in, let's talk about what we're going to bring in. Let's fast track to that real quick. You stunned me. I'm shocked here. We're going to bring in, as we mentioned, Julia Reiniger, our Director of Athletics.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about how she kind of obtained the position. She was also a former volleyball coach. She coached volleyball here for a number of years. She kind of came on during COVID, which is probably a podcast within itself.
Right, yeah.
And then some of the changes. And what we made a pact is that we're going to make it a welcoming, relaxed atmosphere as we bring guests on. But we're going to also provide some hard-hitting questions that's going to be very transparent.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do, is we want to break down any barriers that might exist here on campus between student-athletes, students, faculty, staff, because we are one campus community.
Exactly.
And so we're going to be transparent. We're going to ask some tough, difficult, challenging questions.
Mm-hmm.
Not negative, just to get to the root of things, but also just learn, as we've talked about, more about the individual and, their heart, why they're here at Southern Wesleyan. We have some tremendous faculty, staff that are new. We have some tremendous faculty and staff that have been here for several years. And if you come to Southern Wesleyan, whether it be a student or a faculty or staff, and you remained here for your time as a student or your substantial amount of time as a faculty staff, you're doing it because you believe in the school and what the school has to offer. Really no other reason. You're here to just to help the students, help each other, and to see them grow, and that's kind of what it's all about. So we'll have other faculty, that we'll bring in, obviously coaches, student athletes.
Yeah, very excited about those.
Yeah, students that are maybe involved in some form or fashion with athletics, students that may not be involved at all, but relate and have relationships with other student athletes here on campus. So I think it's really going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well.
Yes, definitely.
And so that's kind of, what our goal is as we get going. Some of the things we've got on the dream board is maybe at some point throwing some video up and putting this up on YouTube so you can actually see our guest.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that anytime soon.
No.
We made a pact to that as well. So that won't happen anytime soon. Maybe release, I don't know. We're at the very start of 2023, so maybe as we get going, we might can release the schedule of guests that we're hoping to interview.
Yeah.
We're going to create a social media channel at some point so you can go in and communicate with us. Maybe if you are an alum or if you're a current student, faculty and staff, and you have some ideas. That's what
you want to come on yourself?
Exactly.
If you want to come on, just come talk to us.
And if you want to take over as co-host, let us know. You can do that as well.
Yeah.
We're open to anything.
Uh-huh.
How do you think the fall's gone so far?
The fall?
Fall seasons, soccer's over.
Yeah.
Volleyball is completed.
Mm-hmm.
Women's soccer, Coach Meneses just completed his second year.
Yeah.
Coach Q has been with us for a while now.
I think 4 or 5 years.
I believe so. May have been fifth year.
Yeah.
COVID really has changed everything up because
and
was basically 2 seasons within a year for some sports.
Yeah, and just messed up the time, my own personal timing. It's like COVID, that whole year, 2020, just sometimes doesn't exist in my brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coach Hines is with volleyball, and she just completed her first year.
Yeah.
And then we transitioned into basketball. Coach Hewitt, men's basketball, his first year.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Davis has been with us. Coach Davis is actually the veteran
on
the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. He's the senior coach, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So that's interesting for him.
Mm-hmm.
And spring sports are getting ready to kick off. Kick off, not really kick up, but kick off here.
Yeah.
Baseball,
February
Brand new
3rd.
coach.
February 3rd is the first home baseball game.
Home opener?
Yeah.
Okay. Softball, brand new coach.
Yeah.
Be opening up in February.
Yeah. It might be February 3rd as well.
It may be.
It might be the same day.
Okay.
So
I know baseball and softball tend to open up as soon as they can after that February 1, just because there's so many games they have to get into a short amount of time. Lacrosse will be opening up a little bit later in February. Coach Schneider is maybe 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And so track and field is kind of unique. You know, you have cross country in the fall.
Yeah.
And the majority of those runners transition into indoor, and then they transition into outdoor. So track and field is pretty much year-round,
right,
in some form or fashion. And, Coach Steele has been with that program for a while now, too.
Busy as you can imagine, because he does cross country as well as track, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
he's year-round.
Roman is there with strength coach, and he's factored in, and then Trey is alongside. He came on full-time this year, too, with cross country. Did a good job with those guys. Cross country team did really well this fall.
Did they?
They did really well.
Yeah.
And, not only as a team, but had some great individual times, too. So
yeah, that's good.
It's exciting. I mean, I'm excited. Like we mentioned, 2023 is opening up, and there's a whole host of events. You know, from last year working in athletics.
Yeah.
Really, when February 1 hits until about mid-March, it is crazy.
It's crazy. I was looking, and Grace Eckert, our SID, Sports Information Director, she does not, let's just say that she doesn't get very many Saturdays off.
Right.
I was looking at the beginning of the semester, and I think she has like 3, maybe 4 Saturdays off all semester. It's like, I couldn't do it, you know, and that's where people like me come on.
Exactly.
And like maybe we give her a game off, like a Saturday off, something like that, where she just has to come set up, and then we pack it up and put her in her office or something. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The spring semester is crazy, and then as we mentioned, that month and a half of overlap. Because really, with the exception of the fall sports of soccer and volleyball, everybody else is competing.
Yeah.
And then you'll throw in a 1 to 2 home track events.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy as well.
Right.
So it's exciting. But, as I mentioned, getting to know you from working those events last year, and I'm assuming you're going to be doing some again this year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, what's your schedule look like? I mean, you only have 3 semesters. After this semester, you only have a year left, so 2 semesters.
Yeah.
So are you, as a sport management Christian studies minor, are you kind of getting into a rough portion of your class schedule? Is it kind of leveling out, easing off, or what's it look like for a traditional student here on campus?
Well, I'm not really a traditional student, I don't think you could say, because I came into freshman year with 45 credits from high school.
Okay. I would say you're not the traditional student.
Yeah, I'm not the traditional student. So right now, I'm actually technically a second semester senior.
Okay.
So meaning that I have the 120 credits,
Right.
but they're not all the right credit, the credits I need. So I'm still here for 3 semesters, but it's gonna be like 12 hours a semester, like really chill. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm open. I'm free.
Well, there we go. So if you're not on campus and you get a chance to listen to some of the broadcast for the spring sports, we'll toss Isaac's name out there. If you're following along live stats for the spring sports, chances are he'll be the one entering hit or error or something of that nature. So if you have a discussion about if it was a hit or error, it would go to him. Just kidding. We won't release his email or contact information or anything like that.
Please no.
So as we wind up, and this is just an introductory podcast. We have no experience, folks. So if you're tuning in expecting a polished, experienced type broadcast, you might want to keep scrolling because you're not going to find it here. It's just 2 guys that are invested in Southern Wesleyan, love athletics, love SWU sports, and we had a passion to do this, and so we're going to give it our best shot. All right, Isaac, as we wind down here with our first podcast, I know you've talked a little bit about, your expectations, but as we finish up, just talk a little bit more about what your expectations are for this podcast and what you would like to see come out of it.
Yeah. Honestly, as we've been working on this for the past 2 months, I feel like it's really turned into a passion project for me, because I have the privilege to see these student athletes not just on the court, on the field, but also in the classroom and just hanging out. I'll go and sit with them for lunch or whatever. And I've been able to see, again, the person of who they are rather than just the athlete that they are. And been able to have some really good conversations with them about that sort of thing. And that's something that it's so precious to me that I don't want to keep it for myself. I want to give it out to the world, and I want to show the world hey, these players that we see on the court, on the field, even professional athletes, they're people too, and they have put so much effort and time into it that it's worth something. So awesome. That's the big thing for me.
Awesome. Well, with this platform, the world is our venue.
Yeah.
So we can share Southern Wesleyan to whoever would like to listen. As we mentioned before, I'm Mike Gillespie. This is Isaac Tassie. And I think that's it for us.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Until next time, Warrior Nation.
Go Warriors.
Go Warriors.